Okay, I have to tell you that I am now thinking that the Haarp downburst in western Nebraska is producing these massive, huge, dangerous thunderstorms. What, 11 tornadoes so far, huge hail, 70 to 100 mile an hour winds, and what's happening is there's a Haarp downburst of dry air in the western half of Nebraska. And you can actually see where they have the dry air being pressed down. Look at this cloud here. This little storm, it just literally disappears. It's dried up by the dry air. But since the jet stream is moving due east, this dry air that they're pressing down overruns this humid, warm surface air, and that, by definition in the meteorology textbooks, that creates enhanced convection, increased rising air. In other words, very tall, powerful thunderheads. So by pressing the dry air down here, and the jet stream moving it out across this area, you have this train of really big, powerful, damaging thunderstorms. Also, the next rad is actually showing us an artifact of the Haarp, these little bars here. That could be aliasing, or it could actually be some ELF clouds, but in either case it's pointed generally back down to the Pacific Haarp, which is down in that direction. But let me show you the goes west map for water vapor mode, and we can see the dry air being pressed down. You know, this thing is getting all funky and it's not doesn't want to work for some reason. Okay. Okay, we can see this curved area right here, dry air. This darkness is drier air, whereas the clouds are white. So see this boundary, this edge right here? This is dry air being pressed down. And there's absolutely nothing in the pressure map that can do that. Because here we have a low pressure, means rising air at the surface. This is sea level. And so here we should have rising air right here in Nebraska. This is a low pressure, so it's a south wind going this way. And the jet stream, just east, flowing from the west to the east, fairly slow speed. So there is nothing in these maps that can create that air, this air here, this dry air, it looks like a cold front actually, but it's dry air. And also if we look at the next rad, we can actually see this little boundary right here, this boundary here, there. That is the roll cloud, this right here, that's the roll cloud of dry air from the Haarp downburst. And also, so I mean, it has all the criteria to meet the standard Haarp downburst. But what's unique in this case is that as this dry air overruns, because we just saw the jet stream is moving this way, as the dry air overruns this very buoyant, humid air at the surface, you get these massive, dangerous thunderstorms. I want to look at the jet stream one more time. Because look, I gotta blow this up. If we put dry air right here, which is what they're doing, the jet stream pulls it straight off this way, which is exactly where the thunderstorms are. So whatever's happening here, the jet stream is smearing this dry air out, and the buoyant air is popping up through this heavy dry air, because water vapor is much lighter than nitrogen or oxygen, And so it pops up. The cooling causes these massive storms. And the jet stream is showing us that this looks like weather warfare on the American people. And this is going to be some massive storms for the next day or so. So, this looks like just plain weather warfare. I had been thinking earlier that, okay, they're doing a Haarp downburst here, and this storm here actually dries up. You can see it like shrivel up like a fish on a fire or something. See that? Press the dry air down. This particular storm shrivels up and it's dead. It's gone. It dries up actually. But these storms over here, they are increased in power. And so this is making me think that the Moore, Oklahoma tornado, 3 times in the exact same spot, I think this stuff is probably man-made. Oh, I'm sorry, here's a better view of Nebraska. And we can see the dry air downburst and the expansion ring. Look at this. Here's the ring. This roll cloud of dry air at the edge. It's not a cold front. It's moving in the opposite direction of the jet stream. The surface wind is very light southerly. The jet stream is moving due east. And yet we have this thing expanding outward. That's a Haarp downburst. And also we can see really well what the Haarp does to a thunderstorm. Crushes it. Dries it up like a hairdryer. Literally like a hairdryer. But as that dry air moves over, man, look at all this crap here. And I mean, it's just getting worse by the hour. And it's going to just continue east all night long, just tearing everything up and drenching the fields. I don't know if the farmers have been able to plant their soybeans and corn yet, because the fields have been very wet, and this makes it a lot worse. Okay, I had been thinking earlier that the Haarp operators were trying to stop some big ugly storms from causing damage in Omaha, which apparently is in this area. And instead, I see now that they're using this dry air to overrun and create this massive, destructive storm system, because they have put that dry air on top. And I have a little meteorology chart here. Let me show you this. Okay, it says right at the bottom, don't know if you can read this, it's just talking about different fronts and all. However, care should be taken in this case, as in spring, early summer in particular, as drier air moves into what is effectively the warm sector and overruns humid low-level air, destabilization can lead to marked convective activity. In other words, when you have dry air go over warm humid air, you will get increased convective activity or destabilize or massive thunderheads, just like what we're seeing here. So, just as I get all hopeful that Haarp is being used for something good, I come across this. This is a Haarp created storm, just using classical meteorology. All they have to do is press that dry air down, and then the jet stream carries it over. And exactly where this dry air has traveled east is where these horrible storms are. 11 tornadoes, 5 inches of rain in Omaha in just a few hours. It's like, wow, bummer. If there's a meteorologist out there, please comment, because this is some more subtle meteorology that the layman is not really going to have any ability to learn about. But I'm convinced they are not trying to help Nebraska and Iowa. They are trying to do an act of warfare. Silent weapon for quiet wars, quiet weapons for silent wars. That's it. Sons of bitches. There need to be congressional hearings on this. These guys running these programs need to be called onto the carpet and forced to take the Fifth Amendment 50 times in a row, with the world watching them and these guys red in the face. Seriously, this is too much. Sons of bitches. Okay, thanks for watching.